I think a game should be judged on its own merits, on its mechanics, its story, its graphics, its world, its characters, everything that makes it a game. And that's what I'm going to do. I'll be judging Hogwarts Legacy on its own merits as a game that hundreds of people have put their time and energy into, and I think it deserves as fair a shot as any other game. The real question to ask is Hogwarts Legacy good, bad, or just plain mediocre within the first 10 hours? I've put about 11 hours into Hogwarts Legacy. I'm currently at level 20 and have about 20% of the challenges done in the game, and the seasons just changed from summer to fall, just to give you an indication of how far I am in the story. So far, I am liking the game, but there are things about the game that I find frustrating and annoying. Not stuff that I completely hate, but I think could be changed a little bit just to make it a bit better. But before I get to talking about what the game is and my thoughts on it and its mechanics, I just want to say thank you to the over 200 of you that have joined the kingdom and enjoy my content. Now, what is Hogwarts Legacy? Hogwarts Legacy is an open-world role-playing game based around the fictional castle school of Hogwarts in the Wizarding world. You are a new student just entering the school as a fifth-year student. Basically, you just discovered your wizard powers and now you're behind every other student and have to catch up using special assignments, basically. Your special ability, the thing that makes you special at the school, is that you can see ancient magic, and that's kind of what is the vehicle for the main plot of the game. Because you are an unnamed student coming into the school for your first year, you do get to create your own character, but I'm not really a big character creator kind of guy, so I'm just going to quickly touch on it. There's a good amount of options for each section, but it's not as expansive as, say, something like Starfield's going to be, or Fallout or Elder Scrolls. There is something I forgot to mention with the character creator, and it's kind of a big thing. Some reason to change the pitch of your character, it's not actually like going up and down. It's just like, the best way I can describe it is shitty auto-tune. Here, have a listen and tell me it doesn't sound like shitty auto-tune.
Indeed a student, but I could very well be a... That was quite something. I'm eager to get to Hog. A few cobwebs and some... It was wonderful. That was quite something.
Now, before I touch on the story or anything like that, or any of the mechanics, I first want to talk about performance and graphics. So far, the performance has been pretty good. I've had a few frame stutters and drops, but nothing really game-breaking or horrible. The annoying thing that has been happening, but it is understandable, is the door loading times. I've had it happen a lot where I've run up to a door to enter a new area, and I have to rub my face against the door for about 3 to 5 seconds at most, until it opens and loads the new area. It does break up the pace and flow of the game a little bit, but it's not bad. It's not as bad as some loading screens or loading areas. The only loading screens you get during the game that I've encountered so far are when you enter special sections or dungeons in the game. So it's not overloaded with those either. I have been playing on high graphics, and the game does look really pretty, even on those settings. And Hogwarts Legacy's open world is also very quick to go between either an interior area like most of Hogwarts and the open world around it. Its loading times are not bad. Speaking of Hogwarts Legacy's open world, it is rife with exploration. Unlike Forspoken, which I made a 10-hour of earlier this month, Portkey Games didn't add in beacon towers or anything to open up the map and show where every single thing is within an area. Hogwarts Legacy isn't divided into specific areas. It's a completely open world that you can explore at your own pace if you want. Yes, it does lean on some of the crutches of open world design, with the fast travel system and a bunch of different indicators for where quests and trials and shops are, but it does lean heavier into letting the player explore and find the secrets of the world. Though it does feel like there are two different worlds at play here. You have Hogwarts that is full of narrow corridors and open courtyards where you have more focused objectives like get to class, complete additional assignments, help out other students, etc. And then you have the open world around the castle where objectives are more widespread. Normally, you'll be flying around on a broom to be able to get to the next objective. And here's where I get into the first thing that I don't really like about the game. I think the flying isn't all that great. It's good, but it's not great. And for me, the controls make it feel kinda clunky, and its sense of speed doesn't feel that fast within the first 10 hours. Maybe it's because I'm still in the early game and I only have a single broom upgrade, but that sense of speed that I feel you should be getting when flying isn't there for me. Even when I'm low to the ground and boosting the whole way, it just feels kinda slow. Also, flying has a really weird control scheme to me. Going up and down is controlled by the right stick, and going left and right and forward and turning around is controlled by the left stick. It just feels kind of clunky to me. I think that maybe a locked off camera for flying would have been better. One that's locked behind you, and where you look with the right stick is where you go, and the left stick just controls your speed. Maybe it's just me, but I don't know. Leave your thoughts on the flying mechanics in the comments below. I don't hate the flying, but it has frustrated me a good amount while trying to do the first time trials and to grab some of the balloons. And those aren't the only controls that have frustrated me. I've been frustrated by the combat also. I think that buttons on the gamepad need to be rebindable. Trying to balance attacking and blocking has gotten me killed a few times. I try to block an attack, but forget to let go of the right trigger and just end up casting another spell and dying. It's been a bit of a struggle sometimes, especially when there's multiple enemies in the fight, and I'm honest, I don't think I'm going to use the aiming thing all that much, so I'd love to be able to get rid of the aiming on the left trigger and either put my ancient power on there with my block on the right shoulder instead, or to use the left trigger for the block. I just think it would make combat a bit more responsive and a little bit better, but I don't think their combat is bad by any stretch. I think Hogwarts Legacy's combat is excellent. Being able to mix in different types of spells without having to fully switch to a different moveset in the middle of combat is great. And being able to quickly swap out those spells for ones that are more useful in that combat is a really nice feature. Nearly every combat encounter is challenging as you try to break the enemy's shield and mix in your crowd control spells so that you can combo into other spells with it using your basic attack. Because you have a basic attack that does some damage, but it's mostly a tool for juggling opponents and branching between your spells. Then you also have your ancient magic powers that you discover a little ways into the game, and you can throw objects at enemies with it or use a technique that can deal a massive chunk of damage or just one-shot smaller enemies. The combat is honestly probably the best part of the game. Even if some of the controls are not that great in my opinion, it's because it has some complexities to it that make it a challenge, but it never feels like it's unbalanced or unwinnable. Now let's get into talking a little bit of what I think of the story. It has its ups and downs. It's not as obvious as Forspoken's story, and it does feel well written, but I just haven't really been able to connect with any of the characters. I like the professors I've met so far, but the other students I just don't really care about. Whether it's Natty or Sebastian or Poppy, they're not characters that have left a memorable impression on me so far. There is one final nitpicky thing that annoys me with the game, and it's the menu system. I dislike the cursor-based menu system when you're using a gamepad. It's fine for selecting stuff in the first menu when you pause the game. Choosing between the different menus like the inventory, challenge, or quests, that's fine. But when it comes to being in something like the inventory menu, I'd rather just have it so you're using the D-pad to switch between the different items instead of having to hover the cursor over it. It's mostly because I feel like the cursor moves a little bit too slow, and it annoys me. It's not a big thing, it's just I'm not a huge fan of that. But honestly, there's not much that I dislike about Hogwarts Legacy as a game. I think so far the story is fine. The open world is interesting to explore, and its combat is really good and really well done. Yes, I think there are problems with the controls for combat flying in the menu system, but those could easily be patched and changed. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the characters, but I think they are better written than Forspoken's characters and will maybe develop more throughout the game. And maybe I'll grow to like some of them, but at 10 hours in, they just haven't endeared themselves to me yet. Judging the game on its own merits, I have enjoyed my time playing Hogwarts Legacy, and I look forward to working my way through the rest of the story and most of the side quests. If you guys have made it this far through the video, I want you to leave a comment answering two things. Should I make a 2 cents video which is my opinion videos on the whole boycott situation that's been going on with the game. And what do you think of the flying and its controls? Has it been frustrating for you like it was for me initially? It's slightly better now. I'm slightly more used to it, but it was very frustrating starting off. I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to join the kingdom. Aiming for 500 by the end of the year. If you want to see more of my content, I've got my 10-hour impressions playlist here, along with my latest video, and I hope you guys have a royal day.